Electricast.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup meal at McDonald's is underway with one of 9 legendary cups in the lineup. Christian Pulisic, David Beckham, Lamine Yamal, Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry, Son Heung-min, Alphonso Davies, Santi Jimenez. And between the posts, it's Grimace. Get one of 9 collectible cups with a FIFA World Cup meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. 2026 McDonald's at FIFA World Cup 2026.
This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
Hold on to your butts.
We are changing the course of history as we see it. That is what Wesley demands.
Now this affects Iris. Iris, where are you?
What you feel only matters to you. I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
Iris, I have a tip for you.
Don't take drugs!
Or whatever movies with Wesley and Iris.
What's up? And welcome to Or Whatever Movies. I'm your co-host Iris, and I'm here with my older brother.
Wesley, is this like a 2000s nod?
We said that Cameron Crowe is like quintessential 90s.
Yeah, but Vanilla Sky was 2001.
We said that Cameron Crowe was quintessential aughts.
How much of this is Cameron Crowe? This is like Tom Cruise's Vanilla Sky.
This is like Tom Cruise's Spanish remake, Abre los Ojos in Inglés.
See, have you ever seen that movie?
Of course, with Penelope Cruz.
Well, that's not saying anything. You knew that. But this is my education for Vanilla Sky. Until this critical viewing, I had never watched Abre los Ojos, which I did in preparation for this discussion.
Wow. So you didn't know that she was like sad clown meme in the original?
Mime. I did not know. I had no idea.
That's what I meant.
Every time I would watch Vanilla Sky, I'd be like, right, I got to put that movie on my list. And then I'd forget about it for a few years.
Abre los Ojos, kind of better.
So Tom Cruise supposedly saw Abre los Ojos at Sundance and then optioned it and took the script to Cameron Crowe, his old Jerry Maguire buddy. And then they got Penelope Cruz, and I wouldn't say it's shot for shot, but it's really close. Like, Vanilla Sky seems to be turned up to 11. So I wonder why you think specifically that Abre los Ojos was a better film.
Because it doesn't need to be at 11? Because the art house version maybe is more appropriate for the story content. But this is in the time where the English-speaking West would not watch foreign language film. And so it had to be remade. I mean, was it necessary to remake The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? Was it necessary to remake Abre los Ojos?
I mean, Robert Redford watched it.
Let the right one in.
Is it necessary? It's an opportunity to make money. And if you see a thing and it sticks with you, you find a way to put your own stamp on it. And Tom Cruise is known for putting his own stamp on other properties like Mission Impossible and such. I can see it where he saw the potential.
So in your opinion, which is better?
I gotta go with Vanilla Sky. I felt like the imagery was better. I feel like the budget was better. Cameron Crowe brought his music and art and color flair to this movie. Tom Cruise is better to watch. Penelope Cruz is as Penelope Cruz as she was in the original, so there's no loss of quality there.
So you just prefer the bigger budget Hollywood version?
I do prefer the sheen of the shine of the version that has a clear director's stamp on it. Cameron Crowe did bring his own stuff to bear on this party, and I can see it, and obviously so did Tom Cruise. But still, putting them together, it's not like they took it in a different direction. It was pretty darn close.
Did Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz do Night and Day before or after Vanilla Sky?
No, it was about 10 years later. And that's why you can see how Tom Cruise likes to keep the same people around him, obviously. But he brought Cameron Diaz back a long time later. carried Timothy Spall, who played Tip, I think his name was, on with him to The Last Samurai. He left Penelope behind because they broke up after Vanilla Sky. And this one made some money, maybe 3 to 4 times its budget back, but wasn't critically well regarded. I think this was one of the 2 highest grossing movies to receive a D- cinema score.
Was it because of original version Abre los Ojos Love?
I don't know.
Or was it Tom Cruise's kind of passé performance? Kind of like 80s, 90s performance for an early aughts film?
I don't know. Whatever it was, it marked the end of his collaboration. I do remember Cameron Crowe saying at one point that he hadn't talked to Tom Cruise in a long time. If he called, he'd be like totally down for whatever. So, yeah. Kind of like Interview with the Vampire. If it doesn't do exactly what you want it to do, then you put that chapter behind you and move on. There are a lot of Vampire Chronicles. He only agreed to do one of them. And then when it didn't perform to Tom Cruise's expectations, he just pieced out.
But you loved that. You loved Interview with the Vampire.
No, I liked it. It was a time and place movie for sure. It's kind of like The Crow. It was never one of my favorite movies. I really liked the soundtrack. And speaking of soundtrack, you're going to tell me that you didn't like the Vanilla Sky Radiohead soundtrack over the old-timey, remember we talked about Jaws and how they launch in search of the shark and it's like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, like traditional score. It was so antiquated movie score, like orchestral score for Abre los Ojos. It was kind of distracting.
I loved that Kid A song.
Everything in its right place. Good opening.
It's so good. I hold a very special place in my heart for that album. And the music, of course, is what makes this most Cameron Crowe for me.
Sure. But this movie also, maybe because of budgetary constraints and Tom Cruise has all the money, I think this movie explains, in this case, David's riches or wealth better to do whatever he wants with life extension. Like we got into the magazine and the publishing and the 7 Dwarves and all that.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying that the remake does a few things better, which I guess you would expect from a redo, right? Isn't that kind of the opportunity to get things better? Speaking of taking people along with them, Cameron Crowe, a fan of Jason Lee.
Yes. So apparently this was pretty much back to back. Steven Spielberg made his cameo because he and Tom Cruise were about to roll into Minority Report. Likewise, Cameron Crowe came right off of Almost Famous. And the 2 dudes who yell at him in the bathroom, dude, fix your effing face. Those were Lenny and the other guy, the drummer and the bassist of Stillwater.
No way.
Yep.
The bro dudes in the bathroom?
Yep.
Isn't that such a bro dude thing to do?
It's like really, you'd be shocked, I think. At maybe not. You're a lady. Maybe you understand how outwardly and immediately cruel dudes can be.
So cruel.
Especially when they're all hopped up on Molly or whatever people do in dance clubs.
So some good cameos in here, but you know what my favorite one is, right?
Let me think. Is it Michael Shannon?
Yes. As the grim-faced security guard, leering in the background. All huge and like 6'5" or whatever he is.
Yeah, wasn't a thing.
Michael Shannon was definitely not Michael Shannon yet.
Not yet.
Tilda Swinton, all creepy.
Is it because she's supposed to resemble a lifeless frozen corpse of life extension? She's like the life extension model?
Okay, but really, wasn't she just Tilda Swinton and everybody else in this movie are just figments of David's imagination?
Are they?
Isn't she? Isn't this whole thing a cheat?
So we finished the movie, and this is a rare instance where Kelly watched Abre los Ojos, which is my segue, which is my lead-in to Vanilla Sky, and she was like, what does this have to do with James Cameron? And I was like, Cameron Crowe. And she was like, oh, Cameron Crowe, like, because we had just watched Almost Famous. And she was like, the whole time I was thinking Russell Crowe. Anyway,
oh my gosh.
So we watched Vanilla Sky, and afterwards I said, because I've seen this like 6 times probably, and she was like, why would you have watched this so many times? It kind of sucked. And I was like, wow. But I said, what's your problem? And she said, isn't like the worst trope one of the original tropes and the biggest cheats? It was all a dream.
Yes.
And I was like,
Yes.
that's interesting. I never considered that.
Really?
Well, Cameron Crowe did consider it, but it's a little bit different. The whole point was what is dream and what isn't. It wasn't all a dream. It was maybe it was, but
it was all dream after the splice.
Most people propose one of either 3 or 5 interpretations. Number 1, it happened exactly as you saw it, as it was presented to us. There was a splice. He was in life extension or whatever, and it was his lucid dream. Number 2, that it was all a dream. It was all a heightened, on the verge of death, his mind firing rapidly, and none of it was real. And the third was that it was Brian's book, that Vanilla Sky, because David is kind of torn down on all sides, including by Brian. Like, nobody's really a fan of David in this movie, and he's pretty unlikable. Like, it's hard to maintain your affection for Tom Cruise in the bar scene when he meets back up with Brian and Penelope. When he's doing the cats meowing and stuff and being all ugly.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So maybe
being all ugly.
Maybe this was Brian's book kind of telling David's story, and not altogether favorably because of whatever, history they have.
I never considered the Brian's book theory. But how does that make it not a cheat? Isn't that just a story within a story?
Well, it's not a dream, which I think is leading to your inevitable question of why.
The dreaded why.
Yeah, but it's a twist enough, I think, for the original story concept, where you're like, oh, this is different. And you can see that there's stuff going on in the background that we don't understand until a late stage revelation that he was a dream. But how did it come that his reality and his subconscious are blending? What's real, what's not? It's an excuse, at least, for some stylistic stuff, or to play with colors and recurring themes and provide little clues. There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, this could take a Mario Brothers level YouTube video of just someone for 47 minutes pointing out all the little Easter eggs and stuff. And people have compiled lists, at least for Vanilla Sky. It gets more eyes on than the original, and so it draws more theories and speculation and criticism.
Like Inception, there is an architect, arguably that's David, and there are glitches in the dream world. But the difference is that in Inception, spoiler, there is a narrative, an adventure happening at the uppermost level, the quote-unquote real level. Whereas here, if you were to say the same, David's dead and frozen, reanimated and frozen.
It's almost like The Matrix, which actually preceded this. Inception was, 5 years after this?
Except that in The Matrix, they break out and in the third act, they have to solve the real world problem.
He opens his eyes. He wants to not be dreaming anymore. He wants to wake up. I'm pretty sure.
So is that
was Julie Gianni's voice who said, wake up, open your eyes at the end.
And is that what Vanilla Sky is about? Is Vanilla Sky about choosing life?
I suppose. But this is after he had a glitch that required tech support. That maybe because he was dying or because he was suffering some kind of trauma, maybe while they were fixing his face or something, he encountered problems where his subconscious was kind of poisoning his lucid dream. He committed suicide and checked out. I don't know why that was necessary. Why you couldn't just be okay, deprive me of oxygen for a few minutes or just super freeze me or something. I don't know why he needed to take the pills to do enough damage to end his life, but whatever. He got what he needed from the lucid dream so that 150 years later, he felt he was ready to wake up. He wasn't in the same place as when he collapsed on the street and passed out where he affected the splice, or LE affected the splice. So I think he benefited from it in some way. So Cameron Crowe says that it was an accident, but most people speculate that the registration on David's 1960s Ferrari when he heads to Times Square, the registration date says February 30th, a date, of course, which doesn't exist in any year. That's something, right?
Could it have been February 2030 or 3030?
I don't think so, but that would have been that date wouldn't have had any real connection.
Why was Times Square empty?
I don't know, because the Spanish street in Madrid was empty.
Just the architect overlooked populating Times Square with people?
Yeah. I mean, it was a big clue that not everything is in its right place.
This episode is brought to you by Prime. What if you had one more chance with the one that got away?
Sam, you came home.
Based on the best-selling novel from Carly Fortune. Every Year After follows childhood friends Sam and Percy as they reunite in the dreamy, nostalgic lakeside town of Barry's Bay.
Love can be hard to find. So if you're lucky enough to find that person, never let go.
A second chance at first love. Every Year After, now streaming only on Prime.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Hi, this is Zoe Deutsch.
And Nick Robinson. Our brand new movie, Voicemails for Isabel, is all about those little moments that feel like the universe is looking out.
Feeling homesick, then your sister calls.
Hearing that perfect song exactly when you need it. Sometimes life rigs things in our favor, like learning about your new favorite rom-com, Voicemails for Isabel. Now playing only on Netflix.
Radiohead throwback.
Or is it just cool to be able to have the power to shut down Times Square?
See, that's looking at this movie from an American perspective, rather than the significance within the movie and for the plot and what it does effectively for the movie. It's more like, did you know that they shut that down at from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. and it cost $1 million, that 30 seconds of him running? Speaking of which, his name was Cesar in Abre los Ojos, and he does the run. And this is before Kelly had seen Vanilla Sky. He runs down the empty street in Spain, and Kelly was like, okay, I figured out that it's Vanilla Sky that we're going to watch, right? The one that you're talking about. And now I can see why Tom Cruise wanted to make this movie.
He just wanted to do the run down Times Square?
Yeah, they're like, it's got the run. It's tailor-made for me to remake and make money off of. The other one for me was I lived in the Midwest for a dark time in my life. And you know, of course, that Carl's Jr., as we know it in California, is Hardee's out there.
Yes.
Did you know that Black Angus is Stuart Anderson's cattle company?
No, but isn't Black Angus Stuart Anderson's Black Angus?
Right. It's running out of, and there are a couple different chains that have a different name in other places for whatever reason. But McCabe, the Kurt Russell character, says it's Tuesday or Wednesday, and I go to dinner with my daughters at Black Angus on Wednesday. So I got to leave early today, David. And that perked up my ears, and I was like, do they have Black Angus in New York? So I checked, and they don't have Black Angus in New York. There are 0 locations in New York, but the Black Angus here in California just closed last year. So that's not saying much.
Oh.
I wondered if that was a clue. That's pretty thin, I will admit.
A clue that the architect didn't know that there weren't Black Anguses,
right?
That in
Tom
New York?
Cruise and San Diego-based Cameron Crowe would be like Black Angus, and everybody else would be like, wait, what Black Angus? I'm from New York, and I've never heard of that.
Get a rope.
That's salsa.
New York City.
That's paste picante
what
sauce.
It's you can't authentically make picante sauce in New York City. Is the point of that way throwback commercial.
Also pretty loose, pretty weak sauce there. Get it? Weak sauce?
Wow.
Apparently.
How was that weak? That was a great connection.
Apparently, though, they did film the scene where Tom Cruise shoots Michael Shannon. Oh, spoiler. Sorry. For Abre los Ojos, the Cesar character kills the guard that's been plaguing him the entire movie. And they shot that scene, and it exists for Vanilla Sky. They didn't include it, which is a notable omission and really is one of the key differences as far as I can tell. I do know this movie pretty well, the Vanilla Sky version, and comparing it, I was like, you could have taken a little bit more liberty. You could have changed it up. Not to say that it would have been better to change it up, but pretty close. And they definitely made Penelope Cruz do the cute hiding behind her hair, hiding behind the drawing pad, hiding behind the refrigerator cute thing more in Abre los Ojos. And for the American version, they considerably toned down her boobs.
For the which version?
For Vanilla Sky. They were boobs, not as much
she's
boobs.
lying flat on her back.
Right.
I don't think we get any Cameron Diaz boob, but we get a lot of wide, crazy eye Cameron Diaz.
Yep. Around this time, she also starred in Gangs of New York. So it's Leonardo DiCaprio and Cameron Diaz running around trying to hold up their end of a Daniel Day-Lewis movie. Come on. And so when she plays insane, then maybe it's a better fit, but it didn't help me like Cameron Diaz anymore.
So what did Kurt Russell's character fulfill in the workings of his subconscious? He was the father figure that David Ames never had?
One of the father figures, yeah. Well, I guess because that was another throwback to Cameron Crowe's jam, which is To Kill a Mockingbird. When he emulated in the Cameron Crowe version the Bob Dylan cover, the To Kill a Mockingbird father figure, they were sitting next to each other with their backs against the wall, like McCabe and David were in the holding cell, meeting room, whatever that was. And he was his sounding board. He was a key component for exposition.
Yeah, he was a cheat.
Maybe the clearest example when he pathetically tried to maintain his realness, his authenticity, in the face of tech support. It was pretty pathetic. Where he's like pleading. He's like, I'm real.
Can't you just make up names? Can't you just be like Becky and Jenny?
Oh, pretty sad. But also compelling. Like, he had a real argument. If he was a component of David's subconscious or psychology, to say, David, don't listen to him. It's a setup. It's the 7 dwarves trying to wrest control of the company by declaring you infirm, trying to trick you. Like, that's a really good argument. And maybe the McCabe character's kind of Hail Mary or last attempt to salvage his identity, I guess.
Why would David create such drama for himself? Maybe it was true that he was working something out subconsciously, and that's why he was projecting Julie onto Sophia, Sophia onto Julie, or what have you. But why would he create such drama for himself? Why not live out LE fantasy as so-and-so and Maul do in Inception, spoiler?
Well, you'll recall that Tilda Swinton said that lucid dream was their newest option here at Life Extension. And not all the kinks were ironed out. He was not in a good place. He was depressed and really damaged, both physically and psychologically, when he went into that lucid dream. It's no wonder that his mind manifested all the troubles and the drama and the confusion. What movie was it we were talking about when I said that alcohol doesn't change who you are, it amplifies some of the less controllable aspects of your personality. He just, when he got into his subconscious and he was world building, it's not going to be flawless if he was in a bad place to begin with. I know that I have horrific nightmares when I'm too hot or dehydrated or something. Like, I was like, why do I watch this movie so often? I get into these weird fits. I've seen
Ryan loves this movie.
Yeah, probably half a dozen times. But why isn't it one of my favorites? I've kind of come to this conclusion. Does it make sense? Because Abre los Ojos, I recognize it for a good story. And I think that Tom Cruise saw it for the potential that it was, where he's trying to shy away from his pretty boy image at least a little bit by looking horrific in maybe half of this movie. Does it come down to, do you think that we just don't want to watch an ugly dude for an hour? Like, is it unpleasant to watch, like Mask or The Elephant Man?
Yeah, it's a little bit unpleasant, and I definitely thought about that, my own prejudices against people who aren't attractive. He is a very attractive man, and part of maybe what I want or expect from a Tom Cruise movie is to be able to just admire his physical beauty as a man. But obviously it's so much more than that. He acts detestably. He's like trying to act, quote unquote, uglier than his face. And that doesn't help anything. Do we discriminate against ugliness and favor beauty? I guess the answer is obvious, but
Well,
do we do it consciously?
No, I don't think we do it consciously as much. Or at least we're able to control ourselves, where if you see someone who's burned or who had something terrible happen to them at the bank, you don't look away like the bartender. Say it to my face, bitch. And you try to maintain eye contact and you be respectful. But at the same time, I do think subconsciously there's something that you have to acknowledge is going to take place. You regard people differently. Consider this. People have found and probably do still find Cameron Diaz attractive. You can't see my air quotes. Did you ever once think, can you go back to the first time? Were you ever like, oh, it's fine, David, get in that car?
Is that ever a good idea in dream or reality or a parallel universe? No.
She's not ugly.
Not a good idea.
But I was like, the very first time I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. And I have to assume it's because of her crazy googly eyes and her clear violation of his, I didn't invite you.
You're following me.
I mean, he was a jerk to her, right? He was leading her on. He was
definitely
and all that stuff. But still, when she shows up and she's like, I'm mad at you, you jerk. You didn't invite me. I still was on David's side. And that can't be because he's good looking, because she's good looking too, right?
Was she propositioning him? Was Julie saying, get into my car and make it up to me? And he's just a filthy dude and was like, yeah, I'll just have one last score and then I'll be done with you.
Oh,
is that what was happening?
I don't think so. Because when you find someone like Sophia and she says, did she turn into a butterfly for you, the moth girl? And he looks off into the distance and he's like, she did. She really did. And I was like, oh my God, dude, those are internal thoughts. You don't say this to Julie Crazy Eyes Gianni. He got into the car because she guilted him hard. You're just never around for your friends, and he's like, oh God. And I'm like, no, but he fell for it. I think that he was going to try to talk her down. They were going to go someplace and talk. I don't think he was in it to score. I hope not, because that would have been too much like Nuria or whatever in Abre los Ojos saying, I scored at your party too. I mean, I didn't get any, so I'm hot for some right now. How about it, big boy? And I'm like, ugh. But I don't think that he was like sexually pent up or something so that he was going to take it out on Julie, because that would have been, in my humble opinion, thoroughly unlikable. I was anxious about the idea that Sophia was at the window watching the dude that she just had a great night talking with get into the crazy lady's car. We were all screaming, don't do it.
Even if you don't know how exactly that's going to end, you know that it's not going to end well.
No.
But this is important to David's arc because he has to own that he made the wrong decision, that he lost her the moment he got into that car, that his decisions, as Crazy Julie says, matter. They mean something. And I guess that's the kind of twist of this film, is that voice of wisdom, that theme stated, comes from Crazy Julie, Crazy Eyes Gianni. But this is what he has to recognize, right? That he is where he is because of decisions that he made, and now the minute is at hand for him to choose differently. And wake up. What was that?
What? What was what? Nothing.
What was that?
Any real significance for Vanilla Sky? I'm not sure. You want to know what Kelly Ray's biggest takeaway was?
Tell me, Kelly Ray.
She said, and I quote, I'm pretty obsessed over why there was so much hot sauce behind her, though. When Tilda Swinton is talking to McCabe and David, there's a bank of hot sauce behind her desk at Life Extension.
That's random.
And so I immediately took to the internet. Why is there hot sauce on the desk or behind her desk in Vanilla Sky? And people are like, it's another one of the surreal elements, a clue that not all is as it seems. And maybe it's not, Life Extension is not real and it's part of David's subconscious.
Google Tilda Swinton hot sauce. There's a whole Reddit thread titled, "Back when Tilda Swinton was young and beautiful, do you think she ever liked to eat guacamole?"
A perfectly fitting ending to our discussion on Vanilla Sky.
On the greatest non sequitur in Reddit and cinematic history.
Okay, 30 seconds of Iris espousing her beliefs, theories, overall summation, and impression of Vanilla Sky.
This was supposed to be a Cameron Crowe discussion, as Vanilla Sky is a key part of Cameron Crowe Month at orwhatevermovies, orwhatevermovies.com, or wherever you get podcasts. And yet it becomes a Aubrey Los Ojos, Tom Cruise, Penelope Cruz, Cameron Diaz discussion. Cameron Crowe, you said, put his mark on this. I kind of fail to see it. It's not badly done, but I don't think that he justified, and I don't mean to put it all unfairly on Cameron Crowe's shoulders, but I don't know that he justified needing to remake Aubrey Los Ojos.
I will say maybe his Cameron Crowe's most adult film.
That's interesting. Also, what's going on with Tom Cruise's hair?
It's very reminiscent of the Caesar character's hair in Aubrey Los Ojos, just Tom Cruise style.
If I ran around in an empty Times Square, I'd probably yell too.
Yeah, you're going to have to, because that's never going to happen. I don't think it's happened for anyone in the quarter century since.
Let's get Jason Lee back on screen. What's he doing?
He did My Name is Earl.
Oh, yeah.
And then just sort of fell off.
Cameron Crowe Month.
And that's our discussion on 2001's Vanilla Sky. Did you note the Twin Towers in the background that were filmed before the 9/11 event and then were kept in to add to this as kind of an homage to add to the surrealism of David? Maybe he's manifesting it 150 years in the future when those buildings no longer exist. It's all there, man. A whole list of Easter eggs and questions. Vanilla Sky 2001, that's our discussion. You can find like 400 more, way more than that, at orwhatevermovies.com or wherever you get podcasts, or whatevermovies@gmail.com. 818-835-0473 is how you can get in touch with us. 5 stars, leave reviews, but be nice. And that's all, right?
And check out the rest of Cameron Crowe Month and our other themed months, or whatevermovies.com, wherever you get podcasts. And thanks for listening.
You can't reason with the sun. Trust us, we've tried. This summer, it's time to put that angry ball of fire on mute. Columbia's OmniShade technology is engineered to protect you from the sun's harsh rays that can burn and damage your skin. The sun is relentless, but so is our gear. Level up your summer at Columbia.com to spend more time outside and less time slathering on aloe lotion. You're welcome. Columbia, engineered for whatever.
Welcome to Transforming 45, the podcast that celebrates the incredible power of passionate voices. I'm your host, Lisa Boat. Join me in conversation with heart-led humans who share their deeply personal stories of transformation. Transforming 45 is here to uplift, connect, and remind you that it's never too late to write your next chapter. So get ready to be inspired, empowered, and transformed. Join me in this community where through powerful storytelling, we heal and reclaim our inherent magic.
Electricast.